So what I found is easier rather than using Canvas or internal mechanisms to load up videos. It is so much easier to just load it up on YouTube under a playlist called Abstract Algebra Spring 2015, and then you can go and grab what videos you need from there, and there's just one playlist. It just seems to work a lot better than anything that has been monopolized and used for education. That's how we're going to record our lectures and put it up there. And that's really nice. There's some great things about it. Everything's captured. Student questions are captured, so you have a total recall of what happened. The bad thing is that I could go really fast because I'm using PowerPoints and moving along, and I think sometimes it's hard to move around in the video to find the exact spot that you need to find, and that's another thing that I've heard. And it's unusual too. It's different. 36 people are supposed to sit and write at their desk exactly what the professor's writing at the board, and that's what we're used to. So it takes a little time to get used to it as well. But there's 2 students who've had me for it. You get used to it after a while, right? It is really nice. I got used to it after doing some time, and I don't think I could ever go back. So we're using Frele. I know a lot of you used Frele with Bogdanita. But what we're going to be doing is looking at it much more deeply, probably much more quickly, and also using examples from outside. So you should see an example today that you haven't seen before in abstract algebra. So I grade by exams. So we'll have 3 exams, and they're scheduled for February 16th, March 23rd, and April 20th, so you can schedule and plan around everything else. I dropped the lowest exam, and generally I have the exams be comprehensive. I think I want to do that here because I know that there's a comprehensive exam that many of you have to take in math education that will most likely have algebra on it, so it will help you to actually see it in a comprehensive manner as a whole body instead of little pieces. We also will do in-class assignments. We're not going to do one here today because I feel like it's the first day. I want to cover some things first, and then the next time we meet we're going to do some in-class work so that you can familiarize yourself and grasp it here together with me around as well, and then it gives you more insight into how to work the problems and how to think about things. I think abstract algebra is a way of thinking more than anything, and it's like von Neumann said, you just get used to it. You don't actually learn it. So you get used to that way of thinking, and that's kind of what you're trying to grab. We have quizzes every non-exam Monday. I try to make all the exams and quizzes, especially for commuter students, right after the weekend, so that it's not, if it is on a Wednesday, more pressing things start to come into place and it becomes more difficult to prepare. And our final is at 5:30 on May 11th, so and that's 30%, and it should be very similar to what you'd expect to see on a comprehensive exam. Any questions about that? I'm not actually going to assign homework this time, but every other class period we're going to have homework and things that we're working on, so the calm before the storm. Okay. I don't post it on Canvas right away. I'll post it up tonight. So I make a lot of little mistakes, and so I like to clean it up before I actually post anything. So I'm waiting to see the mistakes so far. So far, so good. These are more for younger students that I have. They just love their cell phones. I think some of you are high school teachers, you know. I told them today, if you're looking at your crotch and smiling, I hope you have your cell phone out. I keep my cell phone away too because I understand it. It's a distraction, but I'd really not like seeing the cell phone out in front of you and texting people while I'm lecturing or while we're working on something in class. So that's just a politeness issue. Graded events. 2 drops on quizzes, 2 drops on in-class assignments to handle emergencies. We generally don't have a lot of those in graduate courses, so I think that more than enough gives you the cushion that you need. And exams are comprehensive, like I already mentioned. This is outdated. This is something I want to delete. If you miss class, you have a video. You can go back and see what was there, so there's no issue for missing class anymore. You'll know what was covered. And late for class might be an issue. If you arrive midway through a quiz, I'm going to always try to start the quiz a little bit, like 10 minutes, give a little grace period, because it's hard to get to Montclair at this time of night, I know. all my children have thrown up here, right at that cusp of 46, Route 3, just the stop and go traffic. All of them have thrown up here. So I get it. This is one of my policies which might be unique. Right before class is not a time for answering questions. I know that that's a desperation time, and but I'm not even available. I usually have meetings right before class. So right before class is not a good time, and I usually become less and less helpful the closer we get to class time. I generally don't have this problem with graduate students again. It's more undergrads showing up right at the, usually pre-calc and calculus, showing up right at the door 5 minutes before the exam saying, teach me everything now. Here's the mind-to-mind transport button. Let's go. And it doesn't really work that way. I procrastinate at times. I put together things at times, and it's the last minute. That's my burden. I take the repercussions for that. If you have something, some situation that lets you up to the last minute, that would be your burden. But until that time, I'm extremely helpful. I help with the computers, email or cell phone, and usually I'm back and forth almost immediately, I think. Am I? I think I'm. The quizzes and exams, the structure of it, I don't think students take too long to get used to it. Each of the questions have a rubric right next to it, so you have an idea of how that question's being graded. I started doing that after some time, so giving students more direction of how I'm breaking up the percentage so they can see it. And you'll get used to that too, because it's really helpful actually. Students actually go and check off that they have everything that they needed on a problem. And you'll see it on the first quiz where we have everything broken up in this way. I have never ever had to curve. I am not one of those professors where the highest grade is a 40%. Never ever has happened to me, and I've been teaching since 1991. So I've used this kind of a rubric to assign grades all the way through. Again, I answer emails. Student emails usually come first and on my email box, and I answer those first. So if you don't get a reply from me in one day, then something slipped through the cracks and you want to nudge me again, or send me with another medium through the phone or some other way. Say, I sent you an email, did you get it? And remind me and nudge me. I don't think this is an issue, but sometimes undergrads want to meet. That's what you're supposed to do, right? When you don't, you're not doing well in math class, you're supposed to immediately get a tutor and have them sit with you side by side. So my undergrads usually want me to sit with them, and then I have to tell them that's just not possible. Not going to happen, because we have just the traffic alone and getting to Montclair and then parking at Montclair at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then 2 people struggling like that and coming here. It doesn't make sense to do it this way. I don't think this is going to be an issue here, because I think everybody has day jobs and you can't probably do this any other way but through electronic methods. Are there any questions? Some of this is like carryover that I carry over from undergrad classes and doesn't really apply to grad class, but it's there. Just I feel like this syllabus should be 2 pages. I don't know what else to say. Here's the book, here's the grading, here's the dates, here's the extra page. No questions? All right. You want to ask lots of questions, because if you don't ask questions, I will just go. Ask Ryan, I will just go and no one can stop me.